So let's break it down. That's right. This is a test. This is a test. This is only a test. I'm just checking out the software, seeing what's going on with it. We live up here in Blast Global Barbershop, and this is only a test. This is only a test. What's that? This is only a test. Especially for Americans who still have these great views and especially to the generation of social media. Yes. One of the main we did our decade battle with Harper Collins. You got to put out the book now. Get the mix of presidential election. Nobody was paying anything because the idea that listening to these people, nothing was going to change. So that next Christmas Eve, you weren't going to have. This is only a test. So, like, what can you do about it? I understand, say, as an Orthodox rabbi, expert on churches. But I know that the various denominations in the West, plus the expat communities, okay, you have thousands of churches that have sister churches. Okay, in Nigeria. This is only a test. It's too big of a problem. Fine. So if you know they can churches, as you're getting ready for one for Christmas. This is only a test, y'all. Just checking it out. And what's going on with it. If they actually came together as their faith, say, church, yeah, it's that little thing. Like, forgive me as a pastor. This is only a test. One of the things I think I've learned is, there's a text called Ethics of Our Fathers. It's like at the beginning, we put the quote there, and it's amazing as it says, like, it's not up to me to finish the task. Neither am I free to desist from it. Right? It's not, no individual can change the world. But to that one little boy that's kidnapped, to that one, the village, you remember the village that came to see us? It was the representative was supposed to come, right? So we had a meeting with the guy, to tell us the story that just been burned down like 2 weeks earlier. Right. We walk in the hotel room, 25 people in the room, like everyone had come. I mean, grown men, like farmers in clinical shock, like just fresh, right in front of their eyes. And the fact that that they can even maybe you said as being like Americans, that gives them hope to meet with Americans, that maybe Americans would go back and tell their story and these little things. And it's about the individual. Yeah, and that's what I said. I'm like, all the work that you've done. I think you will touch in on the story of someone I consider a personal friend, but I think early. A change. You can make a difference. You can save lives. Even a little thing, and you never know. Like that the little evacuation. 200 people. That eventually became mean, 20,000 people. Wow. And it all started with trying to get out a family.
This is only a test.
These things
this is only a test.
Interesting stories of triumph and heroism are inspiring. I mean, your story as well, as much as it's whether it's Mark, whether it's with all the work you guys do at the Weasel Dog. You are heroes.
Like, two words I not heroes, we're not experts.
Right, okay.
We're really witnesses.
But it's an inspiring tale.
This is only a test.
Just put up the effort, solve a problem, did something about it. Yeah, but it's you could help people, but it ends up helping you. We are in a crazy time in history, right? I mean, a pandemic, division, all kinds. I mean, there are just problems every way you can look at it. And what if the answer to all of these problems was just every single person in the United States or around the world just deciding to just help one person today, just to stop, looking at what's vexing them and just say, who can I help today? Right? This is what I'm going to say. Yeah, I know. I've been on the good side and the bad side.
You and I both know that the younger people think that's the beginning. What they need to do if something actually motivates them. That's the underlying message to young people here in the United States and elsewhere is that for those of us who are lucky enough to live in democracies, as flawed and as crazy as they are these days,
Crazy is a good word.
That's an empowerment. It is. The UK gives, I think, £1 billion a day to Nigeria.
Right.
So, and you can say about what's going on in Nigeria, to me, it's a for now, slow motion genocide. And they have the capabilities in Nigeria to put a stop to it if the political will is there. So all of the elements of being able to change the facts on the ground are there, and it'll be a lot easier to change that if you have a lot of celebrating Democrats and a lot of frustrated Republicans taking an hour out of their crazy days and just step back and say, let's take a look, whether it's in the local community. But even more broadly, if human rights is so important to all of us and spout it, I think what we saw in Nigeria is a horrible reality, right? That could change, not only through tweets. It means rolling up your sleeves, becoming informed, and inoculating itself against hatred. It's not about going out against a particular religion. You find out when you get there, they want it to be us because they feel they're being targeted first by the evil.
Right. Well, the good Reverend over here said something that I'm probably going to hold on to for some time. So simple as compassion requires action. And as someone who wants to be a compassionate individual, professes and proclaims to be that, you got to step up when you see there's an issue, there's a problem. And now you're aware of it. I'm like, and when the read is very, it's easily digestible. But what I also don't want to, the readers or the listeners or the viewers to think that we're painting a picture as like Nigeria is this horrible. No. It's a beautiful country with a beautiful people that, just like America, has its issues, has its problems. We recently seen, the hashtag, InSARS, and which is very similar issue. I think this goes a little bit deeper, but there's truly issues with regimes and powers in Nigeria. They turn a blind eye to certain things and they double down and focus more on other things. Just like here in America, and if you're someone who claims to love people and care about other people, I think it's an awkward used quote, but there's so much truth to it. It's like injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And from all of the great leaders that we aspire to be like, you have to do something about it, and you guys are living examples of that. So that's why I call you heroes. But I understand that it truly is. I'm in awe. I admire not only the ability to go there and be on the front lines and really get to it. I mean, next time I take with you, I want to go. But then to write a book about it in the midst of a pandemic and election year and to put it out, I commend you. And it's, it's work that, but it begins like Canon's class, right? I mean, it begins with education. Yeah. And listening to each other and listening to victims and learning, I think one of the most important questions in the world is this question: what is it that I might not know about something? Right? I mean, we live in such a self-convinced society. Everyone's convinced, that everything they know is exactly the way it is. And the most important question is back to humility. It's what is it that I might not know? And one of the things that we did know about Nigeria is it is just the most amazing country in the world. And this is what breaks our heart, because in parts of the country, some of the Nigerian people aren't allowed.
That's right. You tuned in to Brass Global Barbershop, just sitting up here, checking out, you know what I'm saying, some videos and testing out this thing when I'm up here in the barbershop. Y'all seeing what's cracking,
Just last week, I think, that was a kind of throwaway story about an American aid worker was kidnapped in Chad and released by SEAL team.
Right now, I'm listening to Candace class with Rabbi Cooper and Reverend Johnny. Let's say Reverend Johnny Moore. All right. This is from off of Nick's Candace class on YouTube, y'all. We live.
Again, I'm not an expert on terrorism, but we're not very good collectively at understanding what an infrastructure of terrorism starts to take hold. We didn't see it in '93. Certainly didn't see it in 9/11. It took a long time to take care of ISIS in Syria and Iraq with people.
And that's why you guys are bringing this to attention now, because again, calling it the next jihad, or even we normally, as Western civilization, don't pay attention to things that are going on until it hits close to home, and it's growing and growing there, and it will come here,
especially not in Africa.
Right.
Let's be honest. The world doesn't care very much about Africa or
about the origin land.
What they care about is the oil. They care about the breadbasket that Sudan could be. They care about natural resources, blood diamonds, you name it.
Colonialism at its finest.
It's still, the vestiges, you feel it, are still there. Anybody who says that it's not a factor anymore is fooling themselves. So, on the other hand,
you raise a
great country. It needs to start behaving that way.
I think this has to be said as well. You raise a great point. Again, I'm playing Angels Advocate. Because when you think about the idea of colonialism, its roots, its origin, and a lot of, you touch on this in the book as well, it's like a lot of people feel that, the people of the land are in defense of the people who have stolen from them in the past and, passed on regimes. As we sit here as people who are not Nigerian, from many different walks of life, many different faiths, they're like, what do they know? Who are they to sit there and come into our land, report on what they see, and go back and write a book and talk about all of the issues opposed? Like, why isn't there a Nigerian person sitting there talking about these issues of what's really happening? Why are these two white guys and this guy from television sitting there talking?
Johnny is really
but I mean, a lot of people are going to say it's valid, and I hope that the Nigerian Christians, I can't speak for others, but I hope that Nigerian Christians become the largest advocate, the largest advocate. But one of the things that we try to do in the book is that we tell the whole story. Like, why is half of Nigeria a Christian country? It's a Christian country because of freed slaves. Yeah. Who came back and shared Christianity with the Nigerian culture. But some people would say that is not a good thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, but this is the thing, like, in our world, like, everyone is worried about what's controversial. Mm-hmm. And, everything is controversial to some, right? And if we're just going to shut down all conversation because it's controversial, no one's going to learn from anything. Nothing's ever going to change. The world, and this is the thing, like, just because you criticize something or criticize someone, doesn't mean that you're criticizing them because you don't love them or care for the place. It's actually the exact opposite. Like it's because and you could be wrong, you know. And I think for us, I mean, the most important thing was not to go there and to give our opinions about the country, but and this is what the rabbi told me. Let's just go and meet with victims, and that's all we did. We just listened and listened and listened and listened, and just told their stories. That's all we did. We just told their stories.
So maybe one or two other points. Number one, we don't want to give the impression that there aren't Nigerian or Nigerian Americans or the UK who are not screaming from the rafters.
Yeah.
In fact, it was a couple of months ago when we were both at a session from the group that you're involved with on behalf of the U.S. government for religious freedom. When I heard one Nigerian after another, someone came up and said, if they don't stop this, it's going to be another Biafra. And then the guy jumped up and grabbed the mic and said, what do you mean? It's already worse than Biafra. Right. It's already, we're already there. So the voices,
All right, y'all. I'm about to pause this for a second. And I'm about to go off into some music. And I'm about to see how this music sounds streaming through this software. You know, right here, you know what I'm saying, Blast Global Radio on TV, you know what I'm saying, we keep steady trying to keep it creative and innovative around here, all right? Okay, so we're going to go here. I'm going to come out of that for a minute. We're going to go back off into that, but I'm going to come out of that and come on over here. And we're going to check out Blast Global Radio and see how Blast Global Radio sounds streaming through. Oh, okay. Looks like we have Promo God in the Kill Shot Hour on right now.
To Blast Global.
We're going to check this out. This is only a test, so y'all can comment and let me know what's going on and how y'all digging the sound and the production. Okay. Need to go check it out.
This song is called Good Art. Here we go. We got a lot of music on this playlist this week, y'all. And all the way in to under here. I have music that has been sitting. I have enough playlist until February.
Okay.
So shout out to all the artists out there.
So not feeling it like that. That's not a good software to play music on. So now I realize it's not a good good platform for music, but it's a good platform for talking. Okay. So it's understood now. Got you. All right. So what we're gonna go back to is the Canis class with the Rabbi Cooper and Reverend Johnny Moore.
The most human trait is to want to know why. And
we're gonna skip out of that ad.
The activists, they're here in the States. No, I don't want to say no, but the people
have to pay attention.
They have been able to get their attention. What better way than taking two white guys, a pastor and a rabbi? And I think the other point that you know me well enough. Okay, I don't view life through the lens of race. I know race is real. Right. We all know that it is, but it's never been my motivational in terms of how I view and interact with the world. Did I know that some people say, why are you going to choose also? and anti-Semitism, and doing this for, I had great teachers like Simon Wiesenthal and my boss Rabbi Heyer and some of the others. So I'm pretty well grounded. Who I am, like so it's not to be blind to race, but if we allow race to be sort of the number one point, well, if you're not a certain culture or you're not a certain religion, or you're not a certain political orientation, you may not get up and intervene. Boy, that would be a sad thing.
And here's the thing, like, you cannot make a difference unless you make mistakes. You just can't. Like that's a bar. But you can't. But you sit on
my life. I lead the league.
My wife is Brazilian, and I always say the first Portuguese word I learned was "desculpa." Sorry, but I mean, this is the thing. Like we stand on the sidelines, we wait for somebody else to do something, and in our case, it was a Nigerian human rights activist, Emmanuel, who has been screaming for 10 years, and nobody would pay attention to him. And he was in prison in Nigeria himself before it became a democracy. He said, Rabbi, and can you go? And can we go? And he helped make it happen. And we just want to echo those voices. And what if we eventually lived in a world where this was just so normal? People just help people. People just respond to.
I mean, that's what we all say we want. And it's interesting though, because again, there's a couple sides to all coins. You speak highly of education, and but ultimately it's education from a certain perspective. And even when you look at what Boko Haram actually means, it's like Western education forbidden, because they believe that our philosophies, our perspective, our lens is incorrect, and looks at them and has looked at them, throughout history as lesser than, as property, as individuals to be conquered. So for those same people, I feel there was even one of the quotes in there from someone that were kind of rallying everyone up. They said they're going to tell you that they love you. They're going to tell you that they want to save you. They're going to tell you that we all want to help each other, but really they want to kill you. Yeah. So if I'm Nigerian, if I'm in one of these places where I am disenfranchised, I feel like these things are happening to me by a greater power. And who am I to trust? How am I to say this is the truth? I mean, and I would almost direct this back to you, because I know you have all the answers. No, you have the great wise one. But I say this in
where's that set up?
No, but I say this in respect to your Jewish faith and all that I've learned and that you've even taught me about the Holocaust, and even beyond the Holocaust, the Jewish community being able to trust the Christian community, that, and even this relationship here, Jewish people normally throughout history have not been able to trust Christians for good reason.
Yeah, we for many centuries we could trust them.
Right.
Screw us.
You said it.
Or worse. Or worse. Yeah. We either see it our way or
no way.
Yeah. So on the other hand, at the end, we're at the point of history now. Two things happened. One right before I was born, and one actually both events just before I was born. It's called 1950. For a long time, we had telephones then. The Nazi Holocaust, which was the ultimate example of what happens to people who are powerless. Jews could not defend themselves; they had no place to run to. You know what happened there, and then the fact that when I was born, this fledgling state of Israel came back and came to being. It's the old new country. The language that was dead for 1900 years is now, modern Hebrew is now a functional language. A flawed but amazing place, the state of Israel. That's an empowerment for Jews. So from a theological point of view, I don't think most Jews, given the opportunity on a level playing field, could defend themselves against others who would say, my religion is better than yours. Right. Preferably not even get into that debate. But today we live in a world in which I guess you could say it's almost, you're going for your PhD.
Yeah.
So, it's almost like you can go up and down the aisles of the supermarket. There aren't any ideas or rights, RITES, that are fended off from you. You could taste or interact or try out pretty much anything. It wasn't available a generation ago, certainly 100 years ago. It's more wide open. My view of life is anyone who's ready to respect I am, they don't have to necessarily like or agree with it. I'm ready to sit down with them. But in a more profound level, sort of come full circle. When I see people of other faiths or of no particular religion who are committed to the basics, feeding the poor, coming down, they lived it. They were part of the problem, having the guts to be part of the solution. Those are real heroes. And in my mind, theologically, that's the most important pecking order of how God will with the heavenly court will evaluate us when we go up there, which is, okay, well, you were a good Jew, you prayed to me, you knew the Psalms by heart.
What did you do for others?
That's correct. That's going to be the most important question mark for anyone. And when you look back at the stories in Genesis, it really comes down to that. And you know what? Generally speaking, we're great, all of us, at deflection. We always have an excuse. Well, Cain, I didn't like the way Abel was looking at me, whatever. It's really very basic. And when it comes down to doing the heavy lifting, people say, let someone else do it. When it comes time to get that award, one of those occasional things you get at one of those shows, you got half the audience saying, oh man, I'm the one who should have been up there. If you did the heavy lifting, someday, maybe you will. So for, somebody, I think it was actually Dennis Prager once said this. He was talking to someone, and he spends a lot more time with believing Christians than I do. He said, look, you believe that there's a Messiah, and I believe as a Jew there's a Messiah. You believe he came once, and he's coming back again. I believe he is yet to come. Tell you what, if he shows up again, I'll be the first to apologize. So it's not to make light of the theological differences. It is to basically say that's a deflection of the 21st century. That's also a blessing, really, that we can even talk this way. Because back in the day, if you were a Jew in a medieval Christian courtroom,
this is a test. This is only a test. I'm just trying out this software. This is a test.
Those same things, practices are happening as we speak. I mean, one of the most compelling stories for me that came out of this was the story of, I believe the young man's name was Michael, was, kidnapped, and it was a group, and Michael didn't make it back, and then they were actually able, from prison, able to interview his murderer, and the murderer said the reason why he murdered him, let everyone else go for ransom, it made about $25,000, but Michael, who was a young man, 18 years old, ready to become a priest, studying to be a priest, kept preaching to this murderer. And the murderer said he didn't like the audacity and took him out, the confidence that he had, so he killed him. So even as someone of the faith, someone who stands firm in his beliefs, and Michael's family, specifically his twin brother, was, saying how proud he was of him because he stood for what he believed in facing the lion's den, in the fire, and his life was taken away because of it. But now you guys have put it in a book to show the power.
It's interesting, like that guy was like just starting his ministry, right? And he's in a seminary.
Right. No, he probably had never preached a sermon before in his life. He was 18 years old. Right. Yet his story will go on forever. Every single person in the country heard this guy's story. You know, and here we are. And now
what's up, peace, brother? I had to play from the other phone that I'm using the other phone, just testing out the stream from the phone.
I'm sorry, Michael, it's live.
Yeah.
Say you should have, we don't know the circumstances.
It's live on YouTube right now. It's just a test. I'm just checking it out. You can't use it to stream music, but you can, to talk on have meetings, and of course you can play like videos on the thing got no music in it and stuff. It's good.
So, what you guys have
Now I gotta find out. I think you might be able to stream it through the other software. I just gotta find out how to do it from the computer. Because I'm just trying to be doing it on the phone right now. And the thing is, it's letting you go live on the phone. Usually they let you go live on the phone, but you can stream it on. They'll let you go live from the phone.
Like you're like an encyclopedia. I mean, like everything in the book, and I don't even remember some of the things.
I ain't tried Facebook. I'm messing with Facebook. I like YouTube, so I haven't tried it. I have to see what's going on.
Rabbi says something is important. I pay attention.
I didn't see it. That's what I'm saying. I have to look into it more because I haven't seen none of that. But I'm quite sure they do because I know other people use it and they use this thing through Facebook. So I'm quite sure they got it. When I seen it that I can do it on YouTube, I just went to YouTube. Yes, you can do it on Facebook. Yeah, I seen it. None of them be clicking back on. Yeah, you can. So, yeah, but I'm using it for YouTube. I don't like Facebook when it comes to my stuff.
And we're already talking about what's the next
No, I'm good.
Right.
I want some food.
Rivers has that
I'm gonna go
lever.
down here and grab me one warm it in a minute.
Want to make sure that America leads. Rivers City, that's
indeed. And
I
here's
don't
like
know.
the most powerful,
I don't know who down
which is the
there.
word
Down there.
trust. You know, and
Down
I
here
really
sitting
believe
up
that
drinking me a
trust
cup of coffee,
is the most
stretching
valuable
this thing out.
thing in the world. That's what oils on anything you can buy. It's trust. It's so rare. And rather than looking for excuses not to work together, with people, whether it's of different religions or different cultures and politics and all these other things going on, for reasons to work together.
Yes, I'm about to come up out this lab. I'm just checking it out, man.
But the people who need it
Test.
the most, and the only way we can untangle some of these problems in the world is it's going to take unique people coming together and deciding to do it.
Washington.
You got what you got out there?
From the people. Yeah. Well, I mean, this has definitely been a compelling class. I feel like we can go on forever. I don't know. In this relationship, who gets the last word? Forever or the rabbi?
One of the terminator. We don't want to be on your side. We let them
Please, Reverend Moore, we would like some final words on this session and why we're all here today. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is, the whole world is stuck, and the answer is probably what's sitting around this table. I mean, look, we're living in a crazy world right now, and we talked a lot about like doing something about it. But what we have to remember is, the answer is probably finding someone with an experience that's different than yours, that has maybe a faith that's different than yours, politics that's different than yours, and just deciding to do something about it. And if we don't do something about it, it's not going to be what's happening on the news and all of these things. It's going to be like these 3 kids. The father was 40 years old, and he was killed. The mother, 37 years old, she was killed. Their daughter was 13 years old. She was killed. The first son, I think 7, killed. Second daughter, 3 kids. I have 3 kids. 6 killed. Her name was Patience. His name was Rejoice. And her name was